Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ecommerce Marketing Chats. It's been a couple of weeks, and Jimmy, how's things? What's been going on your end?
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit under the weather last week and kids were sick, but yeah, back into it today. And I'm keen to jump straight in. Just before the chat, you told me about the updates that are coming on Google and kind of on the AI stuff. So I'm literally keen to just jump straight in, man, and find out what you've got in that space. And after that, I might just chat a little bit about the new kind of search campaign that's been announced for Google Ads, which is kind of AI. It's called AI Max. It's basically like the AI for search, but they're incorporating it into shopping now, which I think is going to be very interesting, and it's going to rely heavily on the quality of your data feed. So be interesting to see what that looks like. But yeah, keen to hear because I actually haven't read the report yet that you just mentioned about Google and the AI stuff that's coming and everything that's involved. So yeah, keen to find out a little bit more about what's in the works on the Google AI side of things.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, basically Google released some official documentation finally regarding kind of AI search. I think people were certainly in the SEO world and the this new kind of AI search sphere, they were a bit unsure about, exactly what ranking signals are impacting AI search. But cut a long story short, basically Google have come out and said, look, good quality SEO equates to getting results in AI search results. Literally, I'm just looking at the document there. It basically says the question it poses is SEO still relevant for generative AI search? In short, yes. The best practices for SEO continue to be relevant because our generative AI features on Google search are rooted in our core search rankings and quality systems. These features rely on AI techniques to highlight content from our search index. And then, funny enough, it's even got some more information here at the bottom in this kind of colored box. And it says, what about AEO and GEO? So, for those of you that are unsure what all these different acronyms are, I mean, it's confusing enough as marketers in the space, but AEO is answer engine optimization and GEO is generative engine optimization. And these are kind of the terms that are being coined by, the SEO industry, the people that are now selling these specific services. Is really just branding. It's actually quite confusing because no one's actually taking ownership. And I think Google could have come out and just coined it a term. And I think probably the
And they've
industry as a
used
whole,
both.
yeah, and they've used both exactly. So no one's making the decision. I know that, like, being a Microsoft, they also came out with some documentations a while ago, and they also referred to it as either AEO or GEO. So it's very. I think
I'm just
someone.
glad they didn't go. I know I've said this before, but I'm glad they didn't go with LEO because my son is named Leo, and I'm like, I don't want an acronym like named Leo. It would have driven me nuts.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's. I mean, I just think they should. I think they should just call it, AI search optimization or AI search. I think it. Yes, there are kind of weird nuances between. You can go into the semantics, but the reality is it's all related to ranking for AI searches on various different platforms. But what it basically
Yeah, I
says here,
agree.
it says, what about AEO and GEO? AEO stands for Answer Engine Optimization, GEO for Generative Engine Optimization. These are both terms you may see used to describe work specifically focused on improving visibility in AI search experiences. From Google's search perspective, optimizing for generative AI search is optimizing for the search experience, thus still SEO. So, from a Google's perspective, in terms of ranking on AI overviews, being shown on probably Gemini and all of their different AI platforms, SEO fundamentals still apply. I do think there are some nuances, particularly between different platforms like ChatGPT, showing up on Claude. And what I would say, one thing I've learned about Google over the years is what Google say versus what actually
Yeah.
works sometimes are two different things.
No, 100%.
So yeah, there's always going to be techniques and tactics which Google say doesn't work, but in reality, when you try them, they do actually work. So that comes with experience, and you do have to be careful, not to use spammy tactics that are going to have a negative impact on, your rankings and your AI search visibility now. So, but yeah, it's good to see some clarity from Google on this subject, because I think you've got the SEO guys in one camp, and then you've got the new GEO and AEO guys in another. And the SEO guys are saying, well, really, to rank for AI searches is just good quality SEO, and the GEO and AEO guys are saying, no, this is something brand new. And yeah, I think fundamentally the foundations of SEO still apply for both traditional and generative AI search.
I've had a bit of like a SEO deep dive, not so much on the AI side, but been looking at a few e-commerce stores, and some of them have like a lot of blog content. And one that I was looking at today had probably about 14 blogs. I was like, okay. So I went to Google Search Console, like I do, and just to see, hey, how many clicks they're getting organically through the Search Console. I literally had a look after the last 12 months, and 14 blog articles had combined for 0 organic clicks. So I think this is one of the things I just see it happen so often. Business owners are told to blog, but they just don't know what to blog about, and I'm almost tempted to make a mini course, like how to drive traffic with your blog, like in e-commerce, because it's getting like that ridiculous now that people should have like a system or a module that they can just follow, and actually gain some traffic from it. But yeah, I feel like sometimes the data's there, so the business owners need to be aware of it. But like if you're spending all this time writing blogs and you're getting 0 organic clicks over 12 months, what's the point? And I mean, I don't think it would be. But what's your opinion on, like, even if it's not ranking, Charles? Can you see those kind of blog posts having any impact in AI search or not?
Potentially, there are situations, but in my experience, from what I'm seeing from kind of my clients' data, the blogs that are performing well on from a traditional SEO perspective also are getting cited on AI search as well. So
Yeah,
reality is, I think from what I see, Jimmy, that I mean, over the years, there's e-commerce sites sit in two camps when it comes to uh, driving traffic from blogs. They either start and they stop. I was just looking at a site this morning, and last posted December 2024. So they've started, and they've probably not seen the traction that they've wanted, or they've decided they didn't have an in-house writer, or they don't have an AI content system in place which they can execute. So it kind of gets pushed on the back burner. It's like, okay, this isn't directly relating to sales, so we've got more important things to worry about. So it kind of gets shelved. So it's either dormant, you've got a dormant blog, or the store has started posting, but they have no real SEO strategy behind it. There's no understanding that you need to look at, what people are actually searching for, have the right keyword strategy in place, and hence they don't see any results. They're like, oh, I'm posting like twice a week, or I'm posting 6 blogs a month, but I'm not seeing any traffic at all. For me, that shows that the strategy is wrong. Fundamentally, something's wrong. Having said that, what I would
yeah, I
say
agree.
is if it is a relatively new e-commerce store and it hasn't got much authority, you haven't built any backlinks to the site, you haven't optimized the site, it's still getting indexed in Google, and it's going to take longer. It's going to take longer to
Mm.
see traction, and the higher your domain authority score, the easier it's going to be for you to rank those blogs. But again, you still need to have the right strategy behind it.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I went to on the kind of the ranking in AI as well. So I went to basically a marketing and AI little seminar tonight. I only just got back like an hour or so ago. But one of the things that I kind of had a gripe with, and I don't know how you feel about it with this, is like the presenter said, we've been working with this business for the last 12 months. And we're finally showing up in like AI. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? I could get like an e-commerce store to show up in AI over the weekend. So what have you been doing for 12 months? Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And I was literally speaking to one of the students that I coach, and they literally said they connected Claude to their site and asked Claude to basically do an SEO audit for them to show up more in AI search. And one of the things that it recommended was like updating the Shopify sites like schema across the board. So he ended up using AI to help him like rewrite all the schema on his website. And he said after that, after the weekend, like he was showing up in all the AI recommendations, and he tested on his friends' phones and other people's devices and things like that. And he's like, I was showing up in AI searches for all the queries that I was asking for the schema stuff that I'd done. So like hearing that, like, oh, we've worked on something for 12 months and we're finally showing up in the AI search. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it sounds like the old SEO, oh yeah, we'll do all this work and you might see results in 6 months. I'm just like, surely we're not going through that phase again with AI. Like AI is not this 6 months wait and see like fucking garbage. It's just yeah, if you're so early at the moment, if you're doing any of this stuff related to like showing up in AI, like there's no reason that you couldn't like make a significant impact in your on your website showing up in AI over the course of a weekend. That's my personal thoughts. Like, what are your thoughts on, ranking in an e-commerce store like quite quickly in AI, Charles?
Yeah, I agree. I think from my experience, I've seen sometimes you can rank quicker on and be cited quicker on some of these AI platforms than you can on Google. I mean,
Yeah.
so I think I think
I mean,
that's a
it
bit of,
opens it up to be gamed at the moment too, so there's probably going to be a transition period, definitely. But at the moment, while it's kind of like a blue ocean, like people should be going for it. People should be doubling down on showing up on those platforms.
yeah, for sure. I'll tell you one thing that I think has a strong influence on showing up for AI searches that is actually kind of not necessarily related to SEO, but is having a strong social media presence. So to give you some context, I probably had a period, maybe a month or so ago, where I kind of stopped posting on social media for whatever reason. Before, when you typed in what do you know about Charles Travers SEO, something along those lines in ChatGPT, you can ask that question and use it a kind of incognito mode, so you're not actually logged in. Uh, and yeah, it'd give a whole list of who I was, what I did, give various different links. And then when I stopped posting, and I asked it not so long ago, what do you know about Charles Travers SEO? It was like, which Charles Travers are you referring to? There wasn't as much context. So I guess,
Yeah,
to cut a
okay,
long story
interesting.
short, I think having a consistent social media strategy alongside having strong SEO as well, that definitely has an impact. Certainly from what I'm seeing on ChatGPT.
Especially like if you can get good on Reddit too, like it's a strong platform that I've seen showing
Yeah,
up a lot and being referenced to.
yeah, for sure. I think Reddit's it's going to be an interesting one. It's whether that will stay the course and like ChatGPT will continue to cite Reddit, and then also you've that's not an overnight strategy because you can't gamify Reddit too much. Otherwise, you're just going to get penalized. You actually have to build a genuine community, or you need to be engaging in
Yeah.
a community and providing real value. So it's not one of those kind of quick tactics that you can apply and then suddenly you're going to show up. From my understanding, I must admit, I do need to look into that kind of the Reddit side of things a little bit more. I do know that kind of brand mentions across the web is a big one, digital PR, even if you don't have a backlink in place, just simply being mentioned on various publications will actually have an impact and get you showing up for various AI searches as well across these different LLM platforms like ChatGPT, Claude. Perplexity. I don't know what you're seeing in the data as well, Jimmy, in terms of from your e-commerce clients. What are the kind of the top AI platforms that are kind of driving the most referral traffic
Yeah,
in your experience?
that's a good question. Like while we're on here, like I'll quickly bring up the client that I have done a lot of optimization on AI, and I'll just give you a breakdown over the last. We'll just have a look at the last 30 days. Uh, you mean just in terms of platform, like ChatGPT versus Perplexity and
Yeah,
whatnot?
yeah. Because from what I'm seeing, out of those outside of Google, ChatGPT seems to be the one that's not only driving sessions but actually revenue. I'm getting a
Yeah,
few
definitely.
sessions on Claude and Perplexity, but no attributed revenue. But I also think the challenging part is, you know, someone could be searching on an AI platform and not always click through to that store or that brand's website straight away and come back at a later date and then search on Google directly. So actually the initial point of contact was the LLM, but it's not being attributed. So that's the challenging part with actually showing the ROI from these platforms. I think there's more people actually using these platforms to search for brands, but referral
Yeah.
traffic's not the only metric that we should be looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it now, like ChatGPT. So just for context, this particular site's probably done $100,000 over the last 30 days, and ChatGPT is done 2.5 of that. So ChatGPT is basically not bringing in 2.5% of traffic; it's bringing in like 2.5% of revenue. And ChatGPT is like by far and away above any other kind of. Oh, actually, there's some more ChatGPT. ChatGPT has like I'm looking at to look at this. I'm looking at the Shopify marketing report within Shopify, but yeah, it's got a couple of different versions of ChatGPT, so it's not always tucked into the same like category, like ChatGPT organic versus ChatGPT unknown versus ChatGPT.com. But then yeah, the next one is Perplexity. But like it's so small, like 6 sessions, one sales. We're talking like 2.5% of revenue versus Perplexity. Um, Claude, I can't even see Claude in here unless it's attributed to something else. But um, just trying to see if it's in there at all. No. Copilot's in there. Let's have one sale too, but only 4 sessions. So like the conversion rates on anything that's coming from like an LLM is really high, which doesn't surprise me because this is kind of I guess a supplement store. And if you're kind of looking for that stuff in ChatGPT, I'd say you'd probably given it a fair kind of, hey, this is what's going on with me. What supplements are kind of proven to help me with this. So I think the research had already been done, and like it doesn't surprise me that there's a high like the conversion rate. The conversion rate for ChatGPT is like 12%. So yeah, it's pretty high compared to I'm just looking for Google Ads. Like Google Ads is like 6.4%. So it's almost double like what you get from like paid Google Ads. Which is pretty crazy when you think about it. But yeah, I'd still say like ChatGPT is like I feel like ChatGPT is almost like the Google version for just people that don't use like AI in the way that we'd use it, but use AI as basically a search engine. And I even find myself like I don't want to even with my Claude, I don't want to like dilute my messages with just stuff for like that I want to generally search. So I still go back to ChatGPT when I want to do just general searches or Gemini actually. I kind of rotate between the two. But yeah, I never use Claude for like my general searches because I just don't want that in like my message history.
Yeah, I'm the same, Jimmy. I think when I'm looking for products and I'm kind of shopping around, I typically would use, yeah, still Google search, but also ChatGPT, whereas Claude is more for my workflow. And I
Yeah, I'm
think
the
that's,
same.
yeah, and I think that's probably why we're seeing that in the data, why Claude isn't really showing up for much in sessions or attributed revenue, is it's more of a, yeah, it's more of a tool to be used in the workplace opposed to let me do some research on buying the latest pair of trainers or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Actually, Jimmy,
But yeah, it's getting bigger, and like it's getting bigger every time we chat. Like ChatGPT has more revenue attributed to this particular client, and like it's getting close to. I'm just having a look at. So like for this client, for example, like organic Google search makes up like 4.5K, so it's like 4.5%. Because I know your clients are a little bit different, and Google organic makes up a considerably larger portion. But like ChatGPT, like looking at this data for organic, is only like 2K revenue off it,
interesting.
and but the actual volume, so sessions, like ChatGPT has 100 sessions versus Google search, which has like 3,200, and the revenue's only that far off. So the conversion rate for ChatGPT and like the relevance for that traffic is just so much higher intent than any other search network, whether it be Bing or Google, organic or anything. Just finding like I guess the quality that's coming from ChatGPT is really high.
Yeah, and I guess that makes sense because the buyer has already done their research. They've done their research on ChatGPT. They've established that this is the best brand, and by the time they've clicked through to the website, they're ready to purchase. So
Yeah.
yeah, that I'm seeing the same, Jimmy, in my data for my e-commerce clients as well. Is the conversion rate is significantly higher for ChatGPT versus Google search,
Yeah,
even
because
though
I
the
think
revenue is still is higher from is quite a fair bit higher at the moment. But that number for ChatGPT is rising in terms of revenue.
yeah, and I think one of the arguments is like ChatGPT doesn't bring in anywhere near as much as the traffic as Google Organic, which might be true, but like me and my clients aren't interested in how many clicks they're getting. They're
No, exactly.
interested in how many people are, how much revenue is being driven. And if you can drive more revenue off a tenth of the traffic, who cares?
Exactly right. Exactly right. Who cares? That's the thing. At the end of the day, do you want to drive more traffic or do you want to make more money? Like
Exactly, 100%.
yeah, it's as simple as that. Actually, Jimmy, one of the things that I was talking about AI. So a couple of weeks back, I was doing some research for air purifiers randomly. I have now got a couple of air
Actually,
pur.
so that's so funny because so was I.
Really? Okay, so yeah, I bought
Yeah,
a an air purifier a couple of weeks back, and I could attribute that purchase to AI and I will shout out the brand because it's a brand called Air Oasis, and basically they're based in the US, and I was trying to figure out. I had a few questions. I
well,
was trying to
Air
figure out.
Oasis, if you're listening to this, please sponsor this episode.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they do very good air purifiers as well. Like kind of they say top of the range. Anyway, cut long story short, I had a few questions. I wanted to know specifically whether I could get it shipped from the US to Indonesia, where I'm living, and I sent them an email, which was in the middle of the day for me, but would have been probably early hours of the morning for the US. So I wasn't expecting a response, but I got a response literally instantly within a minute, and I was like, this can't be a human, or this can't be one of their team
Yeah.
responding at this time of the night, unless they have staff, in Asia. But it actually says at the bottom, generated by, and I was actually having a conversation via email, and it effectively was able to close me. Okay, here's the product page. I would suggest this. Yes, we can ship to Indonesia, and I went
Great.
ahead and purchased. So I think I was trying to look in to see what technology they were using, whether it was a custom built thing or whether I assume they're probably using some form of a SaaS
You
tool.
can actually, so I've done this a few times too. You can actually ask the bot like what it's built on,
Oh, interesting.
and
Oh,
sometimes
that's
it will
it.
just tell you.
Yeah, yeah. But it's just, a classic example of how you can improve the customer experience by integrating AI into that process. I know obviously there's chatbots and But I think even being able to have it on
It's
email,
interesting. It's interesting you say that because in the meeting that I was at tonight, they were talking about how chatbots are like, I guess, diminishing brands because the experience isn't great. But from some of the chatbots I've seen recently, it's actually enhancing the experience. So I think people that are still preaching this, if you've got an AI bot on your store, it just diminishes the experience because it's not a human. Don't get me wrong, there's some horrible AI bots out there, but it's not the AI's fault. It's the person that set it up's fault. So I wouldn't be writing off AI chatbots at the moment because actually, if it gets me to the solution and it gets me the help that I want, I'm happy speaking to a bot, like other than a human. Like if it answers my question and it gives me the information that I need, I don't care if it comes from a human or a bot. So,
yeah, absolutely,
but as
absolutely, yeah.
long as that quality is there, like like what you said, Charles, it can kind of just enhance that experience because you're getting real time conversations. You're still getting the information that you want. Doesn't matter if it's from a human or a bot. There will be some instances where, you know, a human interaction may be needed, but I think for the majority of simple purchasing questions or decisions, they can be answered by bots.
Yeah, no, as long as you're improving the customer experience, it like I said, who cares whether it's a human or an AI bot? The ones that are infuriated is when you're trying to call customer service and you have you want to put in a complaint or you want a specific, you're dealing with a complex issue, and then you get the automated responses. But in this specific situation where, like you said, it's a pretty basic question, to be able to get those instant responses rather than have to wait for hours to get a response from a human. Yeah, makes total sense. And it just means that sales, I think some of the time as well, it's if you don't have those things in place, sales can slip through. If a brand doesn't respond to a customer inquiry, within, like, say they don't get a response within, say, 12 to 24 hours, sometimes that customer may have gone elsewhere. They may have done a bit more research in the meantime and then purchased from one of your competitors. So, yeah, having that instant response, I think, is really valuable. And if you
Yeah,
can
I agree.
integrate that into your customer experience, then yeah, it can only enhance things.
Definitely. Let's leave it there. I think that's a good note to finish on. And not just for chatbots, but if you're running an e-commerce store, do everything that you can to improve the customer experience at like every part of the journey. So it's heavily underrated, and I think a lot of buying decisions are made from good experiences. So if you can make those experiences as enjoyable as possible for your clients, you're going to go a long way to converting them in the future. If you want to hear more of these episodes, you can check us out at Ecommerce Marketing Chats on all the podcasting platforms, or come say hello to us on Facebook at Shopify Marketing Secrets. So we'll leave it there this week, and look forward to having another chat around everything that's happening in ecom next week. Catch you guys then.